We're live. Greetings, this is Edodo Jumbo. I just got this right on time. Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get started with Git. I realized my past tutorials were a little bit maybe for not quite advanced users, but maybe I expected you guys to already know how to use Git, so I'm going to start a series. I'll start right at the beginning, and today we're just going to dive right in, but it's going to be the ultimate guide introduction to Git. Quick reminder that I do a live stream every day, or at least I try to this month. A few days I will not be available, but I'll have a video out for you guys. I do appreciate all the people who have been subscribing, liking, and following. Keep that up. Thank you very much. Quick reminder to also subscribe, because I do provide new content every single day. You don't want to miss that out. And also, you're free to join the live chat, and you can post any requests related to programming or lifestyle. And as you can see, I choose other course. There's a channel where you can go during the live stream. You can post your requests there, or you can also post them. There's different ways you'll be able to contact me. Obviously, I said as a comment. You can also contact me on jumbo.com/contact or jumboservices/contact. There's several ways. I'll show you all that soon. Okay, so let's quickly begin. So what is Git? Git is a powerful open source version control system, or VCS, used by software developers around the world. If you're just starting out in programming or software development, understanding Git is critical. In this post, we'll cover the basics of Git, why it's so important, and how to run it on the command line. So basically, the command line is also a simple way to get started, because you'll be able to understand, especially in the future, if something goes wrong with an IDE or your programming editor. If you're on the command line, you'll still be able to continue your work without any issues. I've run into this problem before. I use NetBeans, as you guys know, as my preferred IDE, and the problem with NetBeans was that in the past there was an issue where the Git would still work on the command line, but I wasn't able to do any Git requests using the GUI. So I actually filed a bug report when I found what the issue is. So those are the type of things that you'll be able to contribute, even though you're not actually going to do any programming for your favorite program. All right, so with Git, you can track changes, because Git always keeps a detailed history of all your changes, as you can go back in time and see what happened. I've actually just used this today. I was looking at some code that I did, and there was nothing wrong with my code, but I was wondering what had changed, and I found out the problem was in my code. Was actually there was a caching plugin in WordPress that had messed up some CSS styles somebody else before me had made. So it basically malformed the CSS, one of the CSS files. So the mobile menu was not showing up anymore. So what I decided to do is I just took that code and just put it into the main CSS file. This way, with the caching plugin screws up in the future, it won't affect it. I'll show you how I did that in a future tutorial. Collaboration, obviously, if you're working with a team, Git helps you merge changes from multiple developers without overriding anyone's work. You can also do branching and merging. Git allows you to create branches so you can work on new features or bug fixes without disrupting the main code base. Once you're done, you can merge your changes back. It's also a backup, since Git allows you to push your code to remote repositories like GitHub or GitLab, or your personally, I just use my own internal, or for example, a client's own internal private servers. You already have a backup of your work stored online. It's free and open source, so Git making it accessible to developers of all skill levels. So if you remember, I did a review of one of the licenses which I actually talked about was the GNU public license. So Git follows the GNU public license version 2 or later. So how do you run Git on the command line? So what you need to do is, it's quite simple. Once you know the basics, I'll teach you how to do that. So you need to install Git. So to install Git, if you haven't already, you download it from the official website, which is git-scm.com. SCM stands for source code management, if you didn't know that. So git-scm.com. scm.com. This is where you go and you download Git. You see this Git client. Git clients are basically, the command line is also a Git client as well. So you can, this multiple ways of getting Git. Obviously, I said you can also use the GUI. You see here, officially, they have the Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. Now I'm on Fedora Linux, so I didn't install it this way. I just installed it from repo. I just typed dnf install, like this, dnf install Git. That's all I had to do. If you're on a Debian system, to be at install Git. So that's like Debian, Ubuntu, those type of systems. I'm on Fedora, which is like a Red Hat type of system. And obviously, if you're on actually all platforms, if you install Brew, then you just type brew install Git. So Brew does work for all systems as well, Mac, Linux, and Windows. That's another way you can install it, but you can just install it officially yourself right here. Just go download them here, and you'll be up and running. Okay, now with that out of the way, now to check if Git installed, all you need to do, you see here, create a special folder. The folder is empty. So you just type Git space 2 and the version, two hyphens and the versions, double. So you see the current version I have installed on my system is Git version 2.50.0. That's what Fedora 42 provides for me, and that's perfectly fine for my work, because normally servers are a little bit behind because they like to be more stable. They don't like changing too much. Okay, now with that said, so we're gonna let's continue here. I don't want to spend too much time on this live stream, also because I want to be producing more content for you guys, and I don't want to blab on too long. Let's get it out, just right to the point. So the first command you always see is git init. So this initializes a Git repository in your project directory, and this command is invisible. It makes a inside your project folder. So on Linux or Unix type system will be empty. So let's create my project. So I'm just going to create a project here. I'll stick to the command line. I'll call it my project. And you can see here we're inside my project. So then I'll cd into my project. Okay, so as you can see here, I've opened up the project folder. You see it's empty. There's absolutely nothing in there. Now if I type git int, you see what it did? It says it initialized an empty Git repository inside this. So you can see here it still shows empty, but if I show the hidden folders, you see there's a dot Git folder in here, and inside here you see it has the configuration, description, head, the hooks, info, object, and refs. So that means that now you can start tracking anything I want if I do allow it. Okay, now with that said, you need to add some files. So I'm going to create a few files here. So I'll just create a very simple one, and I'll say, I'll just say welcome. I'll just type, oops, what am I doing here? I'll just type welcome, and I'll call it readme.txt. So I've created one file here. So this is a visible file. Remember, this one is hidden. So I'm just gonna unhide that, or hide it again. So you see I have one file here. So what I need to do now is, if I want to track that file, what I'll do is type git add, and then that will automatically add the file. However, if you're lazy, like most programmers are, you want to track all the files in the folder. So if I had multiple files, so let me create another file. I'll call this one echo donate to me at ojambo.com, and I'll call this one donate.txt. Okay, so now you see I have two files here. Instead of typing git add one by one, this file and then this file, the easiest way to do that is simply type git space add space, and you put a dot. So what that does is it will track all the files, all the folders, everything for you, instead of having to do them manually. So that's a little trick. I just taught you that today. Okay, so obviously, as I said before, if you just replace the period, then you can, if for example, if I don't want to track everything, I could simply just track one file. Maybe I want to track the donate file, or I want to track this. But let's say if I want to track both, this is much easier in typing the name of this one and then do the same command again and type in the readme file. Okay, now there's git commit. So once the files are staged, now remember, as soon as you add them, they'll become staged. So once they're staged, we need to commit the changes to local git repository. So to do that, you just type git commit, and we need a message. So message will be -m and space and then double quote and then your message. So my message here, I'm just going to tell first commit, and then you press enter. So you can see here, you see it says 2 files have changed, or 2 insertions. The first time it does this, it will always call them changed and insertions, because it doesn't know. So now you can see here, it also because I'm on a Unix type system, it also got the permissions which are 644. This means the owner of this file can read and write to it, and the people in that same group, they can only read or view it, and everybody else around the world, they can view it as well if they can get access to this folder. So you see, those are the 2 files, the donut.txt and the readme.txt file. Okay, now with that said, you see it also, now what we need to do is, you see it also shows our commit message. Remember, our commit message was first commit. It also shows that as well. And notice this number it gave us here. This is a unique ID that is used to track what we have committed. So this is very important. You can actually, for example, in the future, if you want to go back to this exact stage when the files were like this, you would be able to use this this ID. This is a commit ID. However, clearly, this is actually the short form. The actual commit ID is very, very long, because it's a SHA-256 file, like this as of 2025. So clearly, you're not going to remember this unless it's something somebody specifically requests. It says, hey, tell me what your commit ID is. Then you can give them this. But however, there's an easier way where you can go back to remember, get all this commits and everything. The way to do that is you type git-status. So as you can see, when you type git status, it's telling us that on this branch we're on right now, we're in the master branch. Now there's been, since I think around the lockdown, they wanted to change this. So sometimes you might see the default is now main. Now I think the reason it stayed master on mine is because I've been working with so much, I didn't want to change my because it would break obviously my my workflow, because everything has always been master from when I started learning Git. So it says there's nothing to commit because the working tree is clean. What this means that we have committed the files the last time they were changed, and there's nothing to do now. So, but if we modify them, then the changes would show. So, and which files haven't been tracked. So, for example, if I create a new file, which I'm not going to do now, but I'm saying if I create a new file or modify any of these files, the git status would show here that something is different. Now, as I promised, now if we want to see our commit history, we type git log. So if we type git log, you see it tells us here the git log. And if you look at this commit ID, remember, if we go up here, you see here it was cut off at 4 plus 7 characters. You see how long this is? It's way, as I said, it's a very, very, very long number. So it's very hard to memorize this. Even the 7 digits, it's very hard to memorize it. But when you type git log, you see it will tell you it will go in descending order, meaning this was the latest or the last commit, and you can see it, the headmaster, that's where I am right now, who the author, that was obviously me, Edward Ojambo, and then the date when I actually committed, and then you see it also puts the commit message. Now there's other things as well where you can, this is just the short form. If you're on the long form for git log, it will tell you the exact files and all that as well. So so we can use this information in the future. For example, if you notice, because it gives us a date, if you know when you actually committed or around the time you committed, even write down to the week or the month, you can actually use git log and then search by date, and then it will give you all of them for a specific date. Now, obviously, This is only one thing today, so this is pretty straightforward, but yeah, you can do things like that. I'll show you guys in the future. I know all these Git tricks. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the screenshots. So we've already done this, so I'm not going to continue with that. So I want to, as I said before, I want to keep this as short as possible. Not because I think you guys have a short attention span, but I'm saying is the easiest way to learn is just to get to the point quickly, and you guys can go practice, and then I can introduce more information in the future. If you guys have a request, just let me know. So that's it for the, it's not the coding part, but that's the part I wanted to show you on the command line. And I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. Okay, there we go. Just to zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit better. I said this is the date, and that's a Git log. And that's it. So let's finish up here. So if you want to dive deeper into Git and programming, I have a collection of programming books available on Amazon. You can browse them. You simply click here, or you simply go to your Amazon. You type Edward Ojambo. So for example, if we click here, we can go, you see, it goes to my author page on Amazon, and you can see all my books here. My latest book is actually, I'll stay on the American side. My latest book is actually this one here. It's called The Algorithmic Serpent, and it's a fiction. It's about an AI that whose creator is losing his mind. And then I have this the popular one, which is the Mastering Blender Python API. Basically, I have all the code snippets. I explain how to use Blender, but through Python, so you can code procedural programming, if you will. And then I have the Learning JavaScript course, learning Python book, and Learning PHP book. And also, I also have courses on ojamboshop.com. You can links in the description. I have PHP, Python, and JavaScript. And of course, if you need any personalized one-on-one programming tutorials, I also offer one-on-one sessions. Feel free to contact me. As I said, the way to contact me is you can fill out the contact form. You can fill out the comment form. You can just reply to this video you guys are watching, or if you're watching the podcast, you can also reply that way, or just go to ojambo.com. That will be whole easier. You go to the contact page. And that said, be sure to look out for my, I do a live stream every single day, so look out for that. And also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. I'd like to thank all those who have subscribed lately. Thank you very much. Let's keep it up. Thank you, and I'll leave you now. See you guys tomorrow, and have a nice one. Thank you.